Theo Theodorou welcomes you to the David Game College University podcast series. And today, I'm glad to say that I have with me in the studio Katie MacKissack, and she represents the University of Leeds. But Katie is an international officer who covers many different regions, in particular South Asia, Southeast Asia, and United Kingdom international students. The University of Leeds is also one of our very esteemed David Game College partners. And we welcome you, Katie. Welcome to David Game College.
Thank you. Happy to be here as always.
Thanks very much. And thanks for coming down all the way from Leeds today, especially for the podcast. And I'm looking forward to hearing a lot about the university, because in a podcast, I think we can cover a lot of things. Whereas when we're in a university fair and so forth, there's not much time to delve into all the factors about the university. But I'm going to take this podcast into two separate parts. And the first part, we're going to talk about the university and how Leeds was set up, the history of it. We'll hopefully talk about the location, which I know you know a lot about because you were a student at Leeds as well. And then we'll talk about university rankings.
Sure, sounds good.
And finally, any unique selling points that the university have. In particular, our students like to hear about scholarships, which I'm sure you have. And then the second part, we'll explore and talk about David Game College, how we actually developed our link, and the successes of our students. And I'm sure some of them are alumni at this moment in time. Well, Katie, let's talk about a little bit about Leeds, the history of the university. When was it established? And does it originally come as a university, or was it a college? Was it an institute? Over to you.
So the University of Leeds was founded at the start of the 20th century, and we've gone from strength to strength, and we are, of course, one of the founding members of the Russell Group universities. Excellent.
And I think the important thing about Leeds is we mustn't underestimate, obviously, the university's Russell Group position within the top 24 in the United Kingdom. But tell me about the student population at the university, both domestic and international, although we'll probably talk more about the international student market.
Sure. So we currently have around 34,000 students. Roughly 1/3 of those are from overseas, from about 135 different countries. So we are very diverse and also very globally engaged. And this has led us to be the 31st most international university in the world. So we are very proud of our international community. And really big student population spread amongst 7 different faculties. So we cover all of the kind of traditional academic subjects, and then we've also got some kind of more innovative and unique subject areas as well. And we have particularly big student populations from China, India, but pretty much all corners of the world.
Well, that's good to know. And just so obviously parents or students or the listeners can actually find out a little bit more about the types of courses that the international students may more geared into, and is that based on the region they come from or the country they come from?
So we have probably international students, I would say, in all of our courses. But of course, there are particular subject areas that students from maybe particular regions might be drawn to. So some particularly popular areas include the business school and our faculty of engineering. I would say these are probably the 2 areas that draw in the most international students.
That's good. That's good to know. And obviously, it's a research-based university. And can you tell me what type of research you're involved in, what the expertise is of the university and what they focus on?
So we have expertise in so many different areas. But in particular, we have a lot of academics who are working on issues to do with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So lots of developments in those areas, because we're not just keen on improving the lives of local people in the West Yorkshire region or in the UK, but also globally. So there's a lot of projects going out there that are transforming people's lives in far corners of the world.
Oh, that's interesting to know. And obviously, as most universities do, they have global partnerships, or they may have branch campuses and so forth. Tell me a little bit about how Leeds approaches its internationalization.
So we have over 300 partnerships across the world. And we do have a joint school, which is the Southwest Jiaotong Joint School, and that is for engineering. So that's in China. We don't have any other branch campuses, but we have lots of collaborations across the world that enable students, for example, in Malaysia, China, Indonesia, India, to start a degree in their home country, and then maybe after 1 or 2 years to transfer over to our undergraduate programs.
All right. So like top-up degrees, they do first 2 years, and then they do the final year on campus.
Yeah, similar setup.
Similar setup.
Yeah,
that's good. And I think also the parents, especially, or sponsors, would be interested to find out about the cost of tuition fees, as well as accommodation, living expenses, because it's becoming quite expensive here in the United Kingdom.
So our fees range from around £26,000 to £32,000 a year for an undergraduate programme.
Is it very competitive?
It is competitive, yes. So all of our scholarships are based upon academic merit. So we are looking for high achievement in students' current qualification. But we are interested in a well-rounded student. So it's not just the grades that are important. We want to know particularly about student skills and how the experiences that they've taken part in contribute to that. So I always tell students it's not a case of just listing their achievements or their experiences, because of course students come from a very wide range of backgrounds and they have very different opportunities available to them. It's all about how they make the most of the opportunities that they've been given. So you could have a student that's only had one opportunity, but they really go into details and talk about the skills that they've built from it. So, for example, how it could be an internship and they learn how to work in a team, how to manage their time. They've worked on their communication. And if they write about this in their scholarship application, that will really help them when the admissions teams come to assess who they are going to give the scholarship to.
Really good, really good. Now, on a more personal note, because you studied at Leeds.
I did. Obviously, I had a great experience there.
Absolutely. So, do you recommend Leeds?
Of course I do. I feel very lucky that not only did I have a brilliant time at the University of Leeds as a student myself, that I now get to travel the world and speak to students and tell them about the amazing time that they're going to have. So, when I meet students in country and they're excited about coming to Leeds, I just think, I remember when I was, an 18-year-old and I was excited about the same thing. Or sometimes, I don't think I ever have met a student who's interested in studying the program that I studied, as it was incredibly niche.
Oh, right.
So I studied French and world cinema. Very, very niche. So I haven't met anyone interested in that as such, but sometimes I might meet somebody who might be interested in perhaps studying a language or film studies. Yeah. And we look at the course page, particularly for film studies, if I ever meet anyone who's interested in that. And I look at the module list and I say, you're going to do the Introduction to World Cinema module. That was one of my most favourite modules at university. It was incredibly interesting. Yep. The lecturer was so passionate and it just rekindles all these memories. And I'm so, glad that I can share that with students. Yeah. Or sometimes I'll come across students who want to go and study theatre and performance, and I'll tell them, I didn't study that, but in my second year of university, 4 of my housemates were on the theatre and performance programme.
Right.
So you can imagine what kind of crazy house I lived in. There was always props everywhere. We literally had a horse head hung up in the kitchen that was from a performance. I was always being dragged along to the most innovative theatre events. And so that was a really unique part of university life that I got to experience. So when I meet students who might be interested in studying theatre or even just doing that as a bit on the side, as a society, I can share my first-hand experience and tell them what an amazing university Leeds is for that in particular.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it because obviously it's a very competitive university to join and a high-ranked university, which is important. So students who go there must have very high grades. When you're traveling abroad in South Asia and Southeast Asia in particular, as well as here in the UK when you visit schools and talk to international students, what factors do you really focus on with those type of students?
In terms of what they need to have?
Exactly, in terms of what they need to have, because they may come and not know that Leeds is a Russell Group university. Not many people, unless they've done a very good and sound research, are familiar with the Russell Group's system or that Leeds is a top research university.
So obviously, grades are very, very important. So for our A-levels, we ask for between A star AA to 3 Bs, depending on the programme. So whatever the equivalency is for the qualification, that's what we would ask for. So that is the main kind of thing. But then obviously it is very competitive. So you will get hundreds, maybe even thousands of students who meet those entry criteria, and we only have a certain number of places available. So that is when our admissions officers will look at the personal statement in more detail. They'll always take a look at it and make sure that the student does match what we're looking for, but it's particularly important for those competitive courses where hundreds of students are meeting the criteria. So again, that is where the skills become very important. So in particular, we're looking for students who have got good critical thinking and good teamwork. You know, these are skills that are absolutely essential when students want to contribute to the classroom discussions. So again, it's very important that students talk about the skills and not just the experiences that they've had. They need to really think about how these experiences, how these opportunities make them the perfect student for Leeds.
Well, I mean, that would lead then on to talking about the ranking of the university worldwide, which I would like to hear from you, because that again is another way of choosing for a parent or a sponsor to choose that particular institution. So where does it rank worldwide?
So we are 82nd in the world, and so that makes us the 13th top university in the UK from the QS World Ranking.
That's very, very high, very, very high. And within the university sector, what is the ranking as far as employability or teaching or engagement or student support? Do you have any statistics on that, on where Leeds stands?
So we are the 4th most targeted UK university by graduate recruiters. So when recruitment companies are looking for fresh graduates, presumably they're looking perhaps somewhere like LinkedIn, and I'm going to guess that one of the first places they might put into their search bar might be University of Cambridge or maybe Oxford, but then University of Leeds, that is the 4th most targeted. So we are very high up on the list there. We're also, I think it was 51st best in the world for graduate employability as well.
That's incredible. And we do have in the UK, we have the league tables. Yeah. And there are different types of league tables. I mean, which are assessed many different ways. But where does Leeds stand in the UK league tables?
So we're generally in the top 30 in the UK league table. So we're 29 in the Times and 23 in the Complete University Guide.
Good. But again, that's kind of a general ranking, because obviously if you take the School of Engineering, for example, I'm sure that's got a much higher ranking within the schools of engineering. In your specialist area or as a medical school as well. Obviously, that's an important element, and the research aspect. So Now, we move on to the USPs of the university. And I think a lot of parents will be looking at, well, it's fine, the university is an excellent university, yeah, but my son or daughter is going to come there. I want them to be able to be comfortable as far as their accommodation is concerned, the support service is concerned. How do I get a bank account, sign up to a doctor and so forth? Tell me a little bit about how a student would experience his first day attending the university and the support that you would give him or her.
Sure. So we have a really good international student support team who welcome the students, and this includes a free airport pickup from either Manchester or Leeds Bradford airport. And even before students have even landed in the UK, we run our suite of webinars. So I think they've actually just started this week for the current cohort who will be coming in September. And this includes things like practical information on how to set up a bank account, how to sign up to the local GP surgery, how to navigate the city. So we've got a lot of webinars and other support systems to help students settle in. One of our unique selling points, which I always mention to students, is the fact that we are a campus-based university, but we're located in a city centre. So I think this is great because we've got the best of both worlds. So we've got the community of a campus-based university, especially as it is a single-site university campus. So all students are studying in the same area. All of our support systems, they're all very centrally located. So this means it's very, very convenient for students, but we are just a 10-minute walk away from the city centre. So students don't feel like they need to stay within the university campus, but if they want to, absolutely everything that they could need is within that one single site university campus.
Really good. And there might be students who are interested in also extracurricular activities, especially sport. What type of engagement can they have within that sector?
We have over 300 clubs and societies available, and we have around 70 different sports teams as well. So ranging from social up to professional standard sports teams. The city of Leeds as well is quite well known for sport, particularly for rugby and cricket. So if students are interested in them, they don't have to just do it at the university itself. They can go into the wider city. And then other kind of clubs and societies that we have available. There's so many unique and niche clubs and societies. So students can try something new or do something that they've done previously. We also run Give It a Go sessions, and these enable students to try something new before signing up. So when I was a student, I loved going along to Give It a Go sessions just to try something different. And the most memorable one that I did, I learned how to breathe fire. So one evening we went to the local park, which is just a 5-minute walk away from campus. And we were there with the Circus Skills Society and learned how to breathe fire. So you can do some absolutely incredibly interesting things that you might never have thought of before in your free time, whether it's for a one-off or whether you try something new and then decide to sign up.
Wow. So the international student has come, found his accommodation, very comfortable, enjoying the clubs and the sport and so forth. And they're coming to graduation and they're thinking, what are the next steps? And some of the parents will say, well, I want my child to have an experience of working within their discipline, within the United Kingdom. So tell me a bit about post-study work for the students, and how supportive is the university to make sure they can achieve an experience within industry, commerce, or any type of environment that they want to work in.
Yeah, so there's so much support available. So for the very vast majority of our undergraduate programmes, we enable students to do a year-long work placement, a year in industry. And very often students will do that placement and then find out they get offered a permanent job when they then go to apply at that company later on. And within the university, we have a brilliant career centre. And one of our selling points is that we actually give access to our careers portal to graduates for life. So even though I graduated 10 years ago now, if I wanted to, I could still log onto our careers portal, still access one-on-one careers counselling, get feedback on my CV, and even have a mock interview. So I can still do that from Leeds, even though it's over 10 years since I graduated. However, I went somewhere else for my master's and was only able to access their careers portal for 3 years. So this is a really good bonus that we enable our graduates to make the most of. We also give students access to visa advice appointments from a local law firm. So this can be very useful when students are coming to the end of their student visa and they're looking at their next steps. And hopefully, with the help of our Careers Centre, students can gain some great work experience and get a permanent role in the region. Something that I always tell international students who perhaps are not familiar with the city or even the north of England in general, obviously London is a very big area, so there are loads of opportunities available. Of course, we're aware of that. But then students might think, oh, if I go to a smaller city in the north, I won't have the same amount of opportunities available to me. But if you took the geographical size of London and then moved that up north, there's actually so many cities within that same area. So, for example, I work at the University of Leeds. I don't live in Leeds. I live in Manchester. We have graduates who end up deciding they love Leeds, so they want to stay in Leeds, but they end up finding a job perhaps in Manchester or York. So students don't need to look for jobs just within that city. They can look elsewhere as well. So there's so many jobs available, but even in Leeds itself, there are actually so many opportunities. Channel 4 recently relocated their headquarters to Leeds. We have all the big 4 consultancy firms. So there are so many opportunities in the city and the region for international students after graduation.
Wow, that's really good. And no, what interests me is the fact that you can access careers advice for life. I mean, that's incredible. So when you graduate, you also become an alumni.
Yes.
And do you have a very strong alumni association, especially obviously international?
Yes, we do. So we often run alumni events internationally. So last year, I ran them in 3 cities in Pakistan. So I had a great time having dinner with some other Leeds graduates, and being a Leeds graduate myself, it was great to exchange stories and find out that some of us actually studied at Leeds at the same time. So we might say, oh, remember that restaurant when it opened? Yes, I used to go there regularly myself. So it was really good. And then, often in China, we run loads of events. India, Southeast Asia, and we're always looking for alumni volunteers as well. So we have some alumni who might come along and volunteer to be at an offer holder event, and again share what it's like to be a University of Leeds student with our upcoming cohort of students. And students can access the alumni network as well. So we offer students the opportunity to be mentored by alumni in their chosen field. And of course, alumni can network with each other as well and build connections.
I think that's very important, isn't it? I mean, once you finish your degree, the opportunities are through the network. The network you either built at the university or then start within your career and with other fellow graduates from Leeds and fellow alumni. So absolutely. I think the opportunities at Leeds offer the parents a very comfortable source of information to feel comfortable that their children will then have the opportunities to be able then to move forward within their career. And I want to move on to the relationship between David Game College and the University of Leeds, and how we collaborate, and how obviously our students then move from our college to yourselves. So tell me a little bit about the arrangement that you have with our college and how that works.
So we've got a long-standing relationship with David Game College. We really appreciate the academic preparation that they give their students, and not just in terms of the A-level students, but also the University Foundation programme is very well respected within our university. So we get lots of applications and a good number of students each year from both the A-level and the UFP. And we are always happy to be down in London attending events. We will definitely be at the next university fair, as we have been for the past few years. And yeah, hoping to get even more students from David Game in future.
Great. And okay, so we're coming close to the end of the podcast now. And if you can just sum up in several sentences why a parent, a sponsor, a student should choose the University of Leeds.
Sure. So thinking back to why I myself chose a university, I think one of the main things is definitely the fact that we are a campus-based university in a city centre. So it's a campus community, but you've also got the city life. So you've got pretty much everything that you could wish for. Obviously, we are a World Top 100 university, and we have been in the World Top 100 for about a decade now. And then in recent years, there's been huge investments in the campus. So some things that I haven't mentioned yet, we have Nexus, which is a new building which opened recently, which is an incubation hub for technology-led collaboration and developing world-class ideas that are born on campus, bridging the gap between business and academia. And this includes a business incubation centre. So if students want to come and start a business, we've had so many successful businesses that have stemmed from Nexus. And then also we've had Helix created recently, which is a cutting-edge digital learning space for students, staff and the local community. And it offers innovative and experimental digital education tools and experiences, including immersive technologies and making and prototyping equipment, and multimedia production studios as well, even like a podcasting studio. So if students want to do something like this, they can come over to our Helix Centre and try it out for themselves. So we've got lots of very innovative centres on campus that are really enriching the student experience. So it's not just all about the academics, which are obviously great in themselves, but there's opportunities to be creative or start a business. And I think it makes us just a really well-rounded university in all respects due to that.
Katie, well, no, I thank you for coming down to London. And we did have a chat before we started the podcast that we're going to have a second podcast, hopefully, and we're going to organize that on a specific topic. So our listeners, I hope will welcome podcast number 2. And I would wish you safe trip back to Leeds. And to all our listeners, if you need any more information about our podcast, they can go to davidgamecollege.com. And thank you all for listening and look forward to the next podcast. Thank you, Katie.
Thanks for having me.
Lovely.